our interview.
Yeah, and Fnatic, I feel they have problems with their consistency right now.
Sure.
Because we've seen games from them this season where they looked absolutely stellar. They looked fantastic. They struggled in certain situations, but overall they had a very impressive showing. And they said, okay, this weekend we're actually pretty happy with what we showed. But right now they are definitely not happy at all, and they need to focus on this one now. And again, I want to see how they adjust their own draft. Fnatic has the first ban, and they are banning Abathur again. This is the second time in this series that they're banning out Abathur.
Okay, so no Abathur in. Zealots, what is your choice? What are you going to take away? Wouldn't it be absolutely incredible from them if they just ban out Uther here and switch up the draft completely? That would show a confidence that I feel like Zealots I want to see more of.
The question is still, why exactly do you have to ban Uther?
Fnatic from grabbing it. They have the first pick here.
Yeah, but the question is, would Fnatic grab it in the first place? Because they also have Genji around if Genji is not banned out. And Zealots so far have been willing to let Genji go. They haven't banned Genji once.
True.
So they had 2 opportunities to ban Genji on the second spot, and they didn't take it. In fact, they banned Abathur, they banned Greymane, and they banned Malfurion. So they are apparently completely okay going up against Genji. So I'm not sure if you even have to ban Uther, but yeah, this is a
good point.
Li Ming, they don't want any kind of snowball happening here. They want to make sure that there's no popping off on the side of Mena, for example. Gul'dan, of course, still being around, but there's Hanzo. This is the first time that Fnatic picks Hanzo, their first Hanzo game, and also, this is exactly what we said before. Zealots have an MO. They have, for this particular match, a certain strategy that they came in with. A core around Hanzo with a double support setup, and now Fnatic is picking one of the most important elements of it away. They have to showcase now, first of all, that they are good with a hero, because as we said before, it's the first game where they play him.
Sure.
And also now the question is, what else do the Zealots have? It was a fantastic strategy for the Zealots up to now, but you don't go into a best of 5 and you assume that you will get your 3 core heroes every single game. As long as you do, there's nothing wrong with doing it. But you have to have a fallback option. And that's what I want to see from the Zealots now. What is their option for Towers of Doom here, that second one?
I feel like knowing Zealots would be the Greymane Uther, right?
Genji's also around.
Genji's
you can also play on,
like
you can go Genji Uther even.
Yeah, true. Let's see what they choose.
Dehaka
Uther. Wow.
Dehaka won them 2 games already. Today they have 2-0 with Dehaka. Zamani played great around these isolations, and having the global hero available really worked out. And we could see a ban on, if Fnatic picks either Genji or Greymane, they could ban out the second one. But having Uther is, of course, pretty fantastic for them here as well. We talked about Uther being absolutely stellar and the best support that we currently see in HGC Europe, just looking at the amount of games that he is deciding in favor of teams that pick him. And he combos well with so much here. And this is definitely changing the entire dynamic already. So Fnatic has no chance of banning out a global. They have now to ask the question, do they pick a global for themselves? If so, which one? Are we going to see an HGC with stage dive? Are we going to see a Fnatic Falstad, even though Falstad really suffers in Europe? Or how are they going to play around it? They're playing 2 heavy frontliners here. A lot of good stun, Arthas and Anubarak. So Arthas is going to take the top lane against Dehaka, and Anubarak for the engage.
Arthas gives them a little bit stronger of a front line, though. Now they'll be able to stay in fights a little bit longer. They've been playing more mobility based on their last couple of compositions, so definitely a change-up is in order here for Fnatic, looking to be able to control that space. And you need to. With ultras being on the map, you're going to have sustained battles. You can't really decide too much on mobility what you're going to pull off, so I like the adjustment here. And they have someone that can soak on the side.
The last game on Sky Temple was by the way, also the first game that Fnatic lost with Anubarak. So so far, up to that point, they had a 3-0 on Anubarak. They were able to win every single game. Now they're seeing it a 3-1 as they're picking him again. But yeah, Zealots are breaking a couple of Fnatic's records here. They are definitely the team that gives Fnatic the most trouble at this point, even more so than Method, which is in itself impressive.
What do you think about the mouth ban over Lucio? I was thinking Lucio here for a ban.
Yeah, I would agree. The advantage of Malth is that you have the additional lockdown, you have the roots, and Malth pairs very well with Tracer. because I can definitely see Fnatic heading into Tracer here.
True.
If they have Malfurion available, I would not put Tracer past them. The Malfurion and Tracer composition is something that we have seen a lot, and I think Fnatic would have been very happy to play it here if they get the chance. So I feel Malf is not only removing a great healer from the options that Fnatic has and the root setup, I think it's also the idea of making sure that any potential Tracer play is going to become even more difficult for Fnatic.
Genji banned out for Fnatic, which does mean the Greymane is up and available. It's one that we've seen in the past.
Greymane Uther.
Greymane Uther, yeah. Deadly together. I don't know. I'm getting the feeling, I keep talking about Lunara today, and you feel free to break me down on it, but I feel like Zealots will want to get to Lunara again. They played it so well last week.
I'm currently asking myself if Fnatic would opt into Lunara.
Yeah? With Arthas combined.
There's still Gul'dan around, and they played a lot of Gul'dan, so I could see them do that. We have the Tassadar combo again. Muradin and Tassadar. Who's going to be the last one? I mean, at this point, they can play Tracer, they can play Lunara, as you said.
Cassie, if they really wanted to stop someone coming their way. Cassie doesn't look the greatest right now against Hanzo, Arthas, and Nubrak, but that may change when the draft gets adjusted by Fnatic.
Yeah.
They wanted to leave their options open.
This is the 4th game with Uther Tassadar that Zealots play in a row now. No matter Hanzo or no Hanzo, they play Uther Tassadar every single game. I'm actually curious to see, we might get a 5th game to see it, if they would take Tassadar without Uther. We've talked about NA jumping heavily on the Tassadar train and how Korea is currently 0-6 with Tassadar. Korea just doesn't find wins with the guy. But then when you're looking at North America, he became insanely popular, especially in the Hanzo combination. So we have Tassadar played by Zealots a lot right now. And this is also, again, a meta struggle, since we are currently looking at constant double support on the side of the Zealots, whereas Fnatic has been playing the solo support that we are used in the scene now. Greymane is being picked immediately, so he's not an option on the side of the Zealots now. And we have also Karazim again.
I don't think I like Lunara anymore with Greymane and Karazim. Too much dive, and post-16 Karazim can just take her away from a team fight. They'll take some poke, but it's doable. I think Cassia is what I actually lead towards a little bit here. The only worry about Cassia is a Howling Blast from Arthas can just shut her down. I
mean, it needs to be someone who really packs a punch, because there is not a lot of damage potential from the Zealots. You get, of course, some from the Haka alone, and Tassadar with Archon can provide also quite a bit. But if you compare that to Hanzo Greymane on the other side, you need someone who really delivers. And that's why I would, at this point, also shy away a bit from Tracer, also because of the setup that is been run against her if she's being played. You're already playing to an Arthas and Hanzo, and then you have Greymane that can go immediately for you with Go for the Throat if you are a bit unlucky. Karazim can chase her down too, so it needs to be something else. And they go for Lunara.
Lunara coming out. 4 Team Zealots. She was played well by Chris last week. Didn't net them a win in the series, but still showed how deadly she can be, especially around level 13 and 16. And the Zealots are putting all on the line here with a double support composition.
Yep. They really like the Tassadar setup right now, so as we said before, they're going full NA, and to be honest, it works out for them.
Yeah.
And yeah, Fnatic is, if Fnatic doesn't step it up, they're going to lose this one. They need to be a bit close on this. And also, let's not forget, there are no core calls here.
There are no core calls here. Ooh, that is a major counter. I didn't even think about that one.
Given the last 2 days, that is actually a disadvantage for them now.
Zealots coming in here with the spicy map pick to stop the core call.
I mean, I'm not even kidding. Think about even Sky Temple. How often, I think it was 3 times on Sky Temple, when Fnatic has threatened to go either for a keep or a core backdoor and forced Zealots back. And that was an element that they also used on the first map, Battlefield of Eternity. So we always highlight that as a strength of Fnatic, and I believe it is. At the same time, it also shows a bit of a weakness that you are forced into these situations, and Towers of Doom just circumvents that completely. So yeah, Fnatic has to step their in-fight coordination up if they want to take this, and they have one map to prove it. It's Towers of Doom, and if they don't do it here, then the Zealots walk away with their first match win this phase, and a major, major victory and a huge upset.
Well, let's go into it. Game number 4. Will Zealots pull off the overall upset, or will Fnatic tie the series and take us to a game number 5? It is time to find out.
Game number 4, ladies and gentlemen, and the Zealots are in the lead. To the left side of Towers of Doom, we have Mopsio on Muradin, we see Shat on Uther, Zamani on Dehaka, Chris on Lunara, and with a double support, once again, Tacita played by ADRD.
On the right side, in the red, Fnatic, Smexy playing Karazim, Breeze on a Nubrak, Bad Betty playing Arthas, Mane playing Hanzo, and Quatnix playing Greymane.
This is a rough one. I'm excited. One way or another, this is going to be a great game. We could see a 5th one between the two teams here. Fnatic needs to win 2 in a row now, and as we've seen already, Zealots are not going to make that easy at all. They are definitely in the driver's seat here, winning the last 2 maps.
Yeah, especially when considering when we came in this morning. We expected a couple of wins from Zealots over Fnatic, but it would overall be Fnatic being in the driver's seat the entire series. That's what we assumed. But Zealots have been the ones that have really just been taking the game and the fight to their opponents. And I'm still in a world where they could have been 3-0 if game number 1 didn't go the way Fnatic wanted to. Fnatic gonna have to pull out all the stops here, and they already are. Putting 3 in the top lane, breaking down the turrets against Dehaka, and stopping that early game soak/clear that Dehaka brings.
Yeah, Dehaka in the late game in particular can be a massive game changer again. And Zamani played great on the hero. The global advantage that has been a big highlight of 2017 Heroes of the Storm in general is starting to make its way back. Because if you remember our first playdate, this is where Dehaka barely saw any play at all. And then he came back into it. Team Liquid currently looking at 3 wins and 1 loss with him. Has a 75% win ratio. Dignitas hasn't lost a game with Dehaka yet. And overall, he is doing very, very well with 8 wins and 6 losses. Actually, considering today's games, he's currently sitting at 10-7. So pretty impressive here. And let's see if the Zealots can net another victory with him.
Cute little tweet there, the series of Fnatic Zealotry for close games, hashtag HGC. Thank you, Argy, for your tweet. 4 about to hit for our teams. It's all about the sappers right now. Fnatic starts theirs on the right, but actually disengage away from the area. Mopsio scouting it out, comes back just a second later to go ahead and pop them in. They wanted to get 4 first.
Yeah, Chris already hopping around here, both of them getting their camp. I would expect this to be a bit of a slower start, since, especially if I'm on Fnatic's side, this is actually a mentality that you kind of need to shake, and it's difficult, because if I'm on Fnatic's side, I'm very hesitant to overextend myself and all of a sudden find myself behind here. So they probably want to make sure that whenever they use an opportunity to make it engage, it's 100%. But that's going to make it difficult for them to find that aggression. You can't always just hope for your opponent to make a mistake that you then can use to get ahead. Sometimes you just need to take the initiative here, and that's something that I want to do from Fnatic. But given the situation that they are in, it's not easy to do.
Not holding back too hard here. They get the sappers to push on the bottom and get into the turret. Almost dead. Doesn't die, so no experience rewarded, but still able to put some power pushes on the bottom. And they move straight to the middle, too.
Yeah.
Fnatic's leading the charge with the Nubrak.
Quick rotation here, but there come the Zealots, and they get the kill. So there's 2 things here. The rotation from Fnatic was actually great. They pushed the bot lane in, and they pin Zealots at the defense, and then Fnatic has the idea of rotating quickly into the mid lane and getting a tower. But they stayed a bit too long. They still get 2 of the altars, so it's still fine. That kill didn't hurt them. They got 2 altars. There's no way that they get all 3, so it's the better trade for them. But this just shows that at this point, there are small problems in their play. They stayed a bit too long at the tower, but it's also a great reaction from Zealots, because the first reaction that they had when they saw Fnatic move into the mid lane, they rotated top down. So they could collapse onto Fnatic from 2 sides, and that netted the kill. In the early game, it didn't really make a huge difference, especially since Fnatic got both of the altars. But if that happens later on, when the death timers are longer, that could be a deciding factor in finding out who wins or loses the game.
Yeah, Fnatic makes up for it, as you mentioned, with the extra points by grabbing the other altars, so they're still up 36-32. Greymane with Arthas on the top. They're putting a lot of thought towards the top lane. They have broken down the turrets early. Remember, we saw that in the first 30 seconds of the game. But they are also staying on point with these sappers, which allows for Arthas to keep pushing in. But they put 2 in the middle to make sure that if anyone rotates from the bottom lane to go help that Dehaka, Arthas has a forewarning and can get away.
Yeah, and these things are actually really important, because oftentimes you hear pretty empty phrases being used like, oh, they have quicker rotations. And the question is always, what does that actually mean? And in this case, it showed really well. You just allow yourself to get a bit more pressure onto a certain lane and maybe take a tower down while your opponent is still busy defending. So this is what we're currently seeing with this. It's pretty transparent when you have Lucio and you can kill isolated targets on a lane. But in this case, just clearing the wave allows you for more pressure towards the actual structures. But if you, of course, stay too long, then what starts out as an advantage turns against a liability. So right now, Fnatic still in the slight lead. We have 2 altars activating. Very likely that we're going to see a simple trade between the 2. That's normally what we have here. Very rarely do we have a team that shows the confidence and feels that they have an advantage that is big enough to make the play for their opponents. But you still have to make sure that you get some zoning in. And Zealots actually are super aggressive with this.
Yeah, they are. They jump in. They see Greymane on the bottom. He just cleared up that lane, which allows for Zealots to bring 4 to the side and have a 4-on-4, while Zarmny waddles way across the bushes to come in, and Shad starts to channel. Badmini has a delay with the Death Coil, but he is locked down on the right side. I'm a little worried for him.
They are good. They have a high chance of losing out on this one. Oh, but there's a massive engage. Great stuns coming out. They're going for Chris, and he is down. And now we're seeing Zarmany in trouble too. Can he get the counter kill though? He's trying to get it. He's trying to get one. Goes for the burrow once again, but the second kill would be all that Fnatic needs here. And Zarmany with his suicide is like, yeah, you're not going to kill me. I'm going to kill myself.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure there was no delay. Just go straight for it.
But
it's away.
That was actually still pretty cool because I just talked about how we are usually seeing an even trade. And Fnatic showed Greymane, as you pointed out, too long at the bot lane. And with that, Zealot said, wait a second. We don't have to give this one up. We can actually try and fight for this, as Greymane isn't here yet. But you could see the advantage that you still have fighting on your own side. They could go to the fountain and quickly tap up and re-engage. But that was still really well done by the Zealots, seeing an opportunity and trying to use it.
I just love how both teams are reacting to each other. Here is another case example as Clatnix gets picked off. So we know that Dahak is in the top lane, and Arthas and Greymane have been working together jointly throughout this entire last 6 minutes to make sure that they can put some damage on the fort, whether it be through sappers, pushing in the lane, etc., etc. Zealots, now catching on to that, because it's happened to them twice now, come in and get an engage on the sappers on the top side, and Greymane just happened to be there. Great read by Zealots, and they get a chance to get a kill. Now, the issue here is that Momciel's getting caught by a web, but he actually gets away.
Yeah, and Mina doesn't even hit the shot. He went for the Stormbow here and released it too early, so he doesn't even get the shot with this one. The 10 is there, and of course the idea behind this was that Fnatic said, hey, we have heroics faster. Let's try and use it somehow. And that didn't quite work out for them. They were lacking a bit of damage with Greymane not being here. But what you said is absolutely right. The teams are really doing a lot to try and read each other. What information do we have? What do we see on the map? What can we work with right now? We don't see someone on the map. Where could they be? Is there a camp open that they could currently take? Or are they just simply attempting to set up a gank on someone? So sharing information and really just thinking what would be the move of my opponent in this situation is crucial if you want to get these invades onto a camp to get a kill like we saw against Quadnix at the top. And now, here's another arrow. Not hitting. Nene missing his ult as he's trying to go for Mopsio. Zarmany comes in again with a quick burrow, looking for the drag. Finds it, goes for it. Cocoon already in the back as we have AD already popping Archon and attempting to move in. Double altar is active and Uther is already channeling the first, and he is going to complete it.
And Zealots takes a fight in the middle of a minion wave too. We do get these shots coming out from Zealots. They'll be able to tie it up 28 to 28. One lone altar still stands here in the middle. Shad brings in the heals and starts to channel. Breeze floating around, ready to move in for a delay if need be. Ooh, there's Arthas 2 on the back left. And so Zealots, be careful as they are taking poke.
Yeah, Arthas is willing to flank here, and Fnatic has used a lot of the cooldowns, but they have first bullet back up again, and they're using it. They're trying to go for the insta-blow up against the Haka, but the Divine Shield is out, and that's all of the heroics now being used. Divine Shield is also out, and at the same time, we have once again Breeze in a bit of trouble as he's trying to move to the backline. Quadnix with a constant poke here. Lunara doing the exact same thing the entire time, throwing out the Thornwood Vines, poking in with the poison damage, and both teams still chucking around the altar.
Quadnix is low. He's going to go ahead and back and head on home. And the rest of his teammates should be able to delay a little bit longer, but Zealots have a chance here with 5 members to go ahead and move in for the altar. Chris stepping forward with the shield, trying to zone out his opponents while Arthas comes around, staying alive, but also reducing damage coming his way.
Badmini very much alone against 3 here, completely alone, nobody there. Smexy trying to save it, moves in immediately, goes for it. The arrow hits, and it hits hard. They're going again for Zarmany, and this time he falls. The Cocoon is on the ground, and that's an opportunity for Fnatic to get the second kill. They're trying to get Chad. They're locking him down here. 7-sided comes out. Is the stun ready for them? They get him with Smexy confirming that final blow, the double kill against the Zealots, as Fnatic takes the 1-level lead and is finally able to make their move towards the altar itself.
It took a series of trades, and it took heroics coming back online, but Fnatic win the team fight, grab the altar, move in for sappers, and they can start to work on opening the map on the bottom side, and also work on getting level 13 as they take a nice level lead after that fight.
Yeah, right now they are trying to really push this one in. They know Uther is isn't there yet, so they have an opportunity to get one of the bell towers at the bot lane, or at least put the damage on. And they want even more. They go for the kill. Mopsio nearly falling. Smexy dashing in hard. Taken out nearly by Mopsio as he pops Avatar and turns it around. But still, a great play by Smexy, finding an opportunity. And his team gets the altar, or the bell tower, in the meantime. Fnatic definitely with more aggression right now, and they get rewarded with 4 kills against 2 and the earlier talent.
But as mentioned in the draft, 13 and 16 coming online for Tassadar and Lunar, which will allow for them to be more effective in team fights. Do we go for a little bit more of a defensive maneuver with a greater spell shield for Lunara, or do we go for more damage abilities instead?
At this point, I would be, without go for the throat, I would go for damage. If Greymane committed to go for the throat, I would be very reluctant. But in this case, I would use it. And once again, the blow-up potential. Divine Shield had to be used. A good arrow, Curse Bullet, and you can see the aggression of Fnatic right now. This is what we're used to. Them calling a target, stacking abilities and saying, okay, stun, 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 and just blow them up. And Zealots, they know how dangerous this is. We saw Mopsio earlier having to pop Avatar. We saw the Divine Shield being thrown out several times. By the way, quick shout out to Shat here. He is really keeping his boys alive so far. But
what, 3 times so far?
Yeah, it's made very difficult for him.
Unfair advantage of the choice for Lunar at 13.
Yeah, doesn't surprise me.
Coming in with the damage, helpful with Mopsio to be able to land Store Bolt. Of course, get the slows off of his W. There is going to be an altar on the bottom side. Dahaka comes in to interrupt it. Does get interrupted. He still has his drag up and available, but Mopsio is kind of hurt and bruised. He has to back away.
Yeah, and now Zamani is a bit exposed and needs to be cautious here, especially with the 7-sided coming out. They're trying to trap him, and he goes down. He's down, and Mopsio is low. Mopsio is popping Avatar here, but he's still far out. Cocoon already used. How much is Fnatic? Yeah, they're not willing to commit to this. They're not going underneath the bell tower.
They don't need to.
Yeah, they don't have to. They have the kill already. They just need the channel.
And they get the channel. The middle wave is also pushing in, putting damage on that bell tower, which means Fnatic can move in if they need to, even after a sapper grab, and they start the sappers, having the number advantage.
And Breeze is anchoring. He's just waiting for someone to come in. Here's the first stun, here's the second. Bullet comes out, they're going for it. Mopsio, he has the jump, but can he get away from Greymane? Barely. Mena jumping in too. They want the kill. They don't get it. But it's a cooldown game. And this is a game that Fnatic can play 6 days to Sunday at this point. Greymane's Cursed Bullet just is on within seconds. He has it back. Currently the cooldown is only on 30. We're having Anubarak with 60 seconds on his Cocoon. When we're, for example, looking at Hanzo, he has 70 seconds. And we will just take a quick peek at Avatar itself. 90 seconds. Divine Shield, also 90 seconds. The cooldowns on Fnatic's tools that they have for this massive blow-up are so low in comparison to the Zealots. They don't even need the Hanzo arrow every single time. They don't need the Cocoon all the time. Just getting the stuns and then throwing the Cursed Bullet out and getting some damage in is enough to force an Avatar or Divine Shield being used.
Zarmi and Mopsio are helping push in the bottom as they move in for a bell tower. Chris and crew have made the call due to the boss being grabbed by Fnatic. So Fnatic gets 4 shots, but they lose out on a bell tower, which is going to be important here with the next phase being 3 altars. In fact, they are activating now. They'll be here in 25 seconds.
It was very well done by the Zealots. I like this decision a lot. They were 1 hero down, and they knew there's a good chance that Fnatic is taking the top now, that's taking the boss. Let's grab one of the altars at the bottom. That's actually really well done by them. So heads up play, and in the meantime, we have the pressure play at the bot. They're trying to take this one back, and they're going to get it in time.
Murden's coming in. He sees a Greymane in the middle. I believe Quite Nice gets away.
Isolation being used, by the way, did not hit. Was trying to save himself, so fulfilled his purpose to some extent. Tassadar, of course, is channeling at the bottom. That's 4 shots fired. The question is, how many of these altars is Fnatic going to get? Greymane definitely will complete the right side channel.
Zealots want 2. If they can get 2 here, they're okay with that trade.
Left side, this is the one. But this is where the fight starts. 16 versus 16, even talents once again. Cooldowns, most of them up. Isolation is down, keep that in mind. It's a big one.
Thornwood Vine comes out, constantly poking on the left, trying to bring out the poison.
Yeah, Zealots just trying to take position here.
Mopsio wants to dive in, and he's going to be dived on.
They're going immediately for Mopsio once again, but he pops the Avatar. And in the same time, the arrow saves him. Bad Benny was in a bad spot, but Mena saves him once again, and Zamani is so low. The Cocoon comes out. Look at Mopsio. Smexy nearly gets it, but the Dwarf hops out.
Dwarf pops out, Zarmany is healthy, gonna get healed up by Shad. ADRD is slowing down with double storms.
Oh, the AoE the entire time here. And Mobstio is nearly back to full HP now. Shad goes for the interrupt. He might have gone a little bit too deep. He goes down.
Chris had a tap though, so he turns around and he's spreading poison on multiple members. Contagion gets hit here, the isolation slowing down on Nubarak.
And Nubarak gets out with a subterranean shield. He keeps himself alive here. Chris still wants him though.
Chris chasing, he gets a throw in Vine, he's still slow, the poison helps.
The poison helps, and now we have 8 points on the core of the Zealots though, and 24 for Fnatic. Fnatic in a great spot overall. They traded kills over here, but what a battle once again between the two teams. And keep in mind, this is the 4th map. We're not talking about map 5 here or anything, but Fnatic's life in this match is on the line, and they are fighting tooth and nail to make sure they don't lose it.
And Zealots right now have immediately beeline straight to the bottom side. They want to control this bell tower while the Haka works on the top left. This is the advantage of their global play. The issue is they don't have damage around. Lunara's doing zappers.
I was just about to say they need to be careful that they don't die here. I am really not liking what they were just attempting to. That was a really, really, really bad call. That's Lunara on the camp, that's the Haka at the top lane, so you have 2 heroes against 5 in this situation at the bot. You've been running into blow-up attempts the entire game long, and Muradin didn't have Avatar. So, no Divine Shield, no nothing. Fnatic is all of a sudden building up a massive amount of momentum.
And they're chasing here. ADRD is able to escape, but Uther probably not so lucky. Chris getting locked down by Bad Benny. Divine Shield will keep him alive, but Shad will pay for it with his life.
Yeah, there's a camp that goes through at the bot lane, so they should get the camp. Yep, that's 2 shots fired.
It's a couple shots, doesn't matter. With someone dying right now, Uther not here for 40 seconds and altar up.
Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying they should have forgone 1 or 2 of the kills and just hitting the camp, just noting it as well. 2 of the shots at least go through.
Yeah.
At the top, it will be a reclaimed bell tower, so that makes it a 4 versus 4. But Fnatic is realizing that with 25 seconds on Uther, they don't even have to go for the altar right away. They keep Hanzo around, but they simply go for the bell tower at the bot lane. They're saying, we can easily grab this and then get the channel.
They're grabbing it.
The Haka, on the other hand, is starting to chase Hanzo here. But again, Muradin just gets blown up here without Uther's Divine Shield. Not even Avatar is enough.
7-sided strike, just burning him down. Hanzo gets away from Dahaka. Dahaka's by himself. He gets hit with an arrow and a storm bow. And Fnatic is shutting down the game.
You beast! The solo kill against Dahaka. Dahaka trying to go in for the kill, and then Manager says, not on my watch. Burns him down, and the dinosaur gets extinct again. As we see Fnatic moving through the bot lane, Zealots losing the bell tower. That's going to be another 5 shots fired against the Zealots. And that, of course, means a camp, an altar, a boss would end the game here. 11 kills against 3. Fnatic definitely coming out swinging in game number 4.
Zealots are falling apart. They are just staggering deaths. And Fnatic's about to get level 20. When's this boss spawn? It should be up relatively soon. Oh, there it is. It just spawns right now. 20 here. It's 4 shots. That's game if Fnatic gets it.
There is no way they don't get it. You have no chance to defend that. Shad has to try, don't get me wrong, but there is no way. It's a 2 versus 5.
ADRD moves in. We'll have the Archon. He pops the Divine Shield here too. It's going to be a 7-sided strike. They are deleted. Divine Shield holding it for now. Muradin coming in. He jumps in. It's too late, and Fnatic shuts out Zealots in the last couple of minutes, and they take us to a game number 5.
I'm cool with that.
I'm okay with it. I'm a little disappointed in Zealots falling apart towards the end. They started to stagger deaths way too much, but I'm happy with going to a game 5.
Yeah, at some point when they were falling far behind, I mean, the main